It's Jerome Corsi, and today it's Friday. It's August 2nd, 2024. You can see us on X at Corsi Jerome 1 and at Substack, JeromeCorsiPhD.com. JeromeCorsiPhD.substack.com. Now, we've got quite a few things going on today. The Olympics, I think, we're going to start with. These are the worst Olympics. These are the Satan Olympics. You know, these were the worst Olympics in history. So we had a female boxer yelling, it's unjust, falling to her knees in tears. Is this, I guess, Italian boxer, Olympic opponent beat her, a couple powerful punches. Now, I don't know why people think this is amusement. I don't know why anybody thinks this is normal. We're going to beat women. That's going to be our new sport. Well, we don't need no stinking women. We don't need any reproduction. They don't need their special status. So now they've got equal rights. So we'll just beat them to hell. Chris, what have you got on this? This I think is one of the most disgusting stories. This disgraces the Olympics. This makes me never want to watch them again. I think this is, I'm not watching Satan's Olympics. If he wants to have them, you can have them in hell. Go ahead.
Oh, right. And women's sports are women's sports for a reason. You can't sit here and have women combating with men for Olympic sport. What basically the wokies are doing is allowing men, or actually showcasing men beating up women for sport. That's what they're doing right now.
That's what they're doing, yeah.
Right. And these women work very hard for their entire lives to be at the peak of where they are. They can fight other women, but you put a biological male in there, he's going to pummel them, and he's going to hit them harder than they can ever be hit.
This is the end of their dream. These women have spent much of their lives preparing for this moment.
But the weenies at the IOC do not care. You want to hear one of them?
Yeah, I want to hear one of them. Let's hear this asshole.
This guy is, and he is the definition of weenie. Listen to this.
Athletes, boxers are entirely eligible. They are women on their passport. They've competed for many years. And I actually think it's not helpful to start stigmatizing people who take part in sport like this. But they are women. They competed in Tokyo. I think we all have a responsibility, by the way, to try to dial down this and not turn it into some kind of witch hunt. These are regular athletes who've competed for many years in boxing. They're entirely eligible. They are women on their passports. And that, I think, is enough said from me.
This guy's distinguishing women on their passports. Well, he's a man in his head. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, this guy's no man either. I'm sorry. You know what? It's just because some dude puts on a wig or a dress and says he's a woman doesn't mean he is. And it's fine. You live your life, do what you want. But if you're gonna compete in a combat or any sport against women, it's basically because you couldn't hack it as a male or in the men's division,
or because you like beating up women.
Yeah. And that's what these people do. And the IOC accepts this. Let's not stigmatize people.
They condone it.
Yeah, they're not going to stop until somebody gets crippled or killed.
Well, I'd disband the entire Olympics and start all over again. In fact, I just disband it. This has gotten to be now a travesty that we don't know who a woman is, we don't know who a man is, and so therefore it's on their passport, but that's their sex, it's not their gender, so they can fight against. Okay, well, let's put in here, why don't we have trans species fighting? Let them fight gorillas. Let them fight, chimpanzees. Let them fight elephants.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be great to let them fight elephants. That wasn't that a war strategy back in the past?
Well, yeah, Hannibal and the elephants. The Romans did it. The Romans threw in the Colosseum gladiators. First of all, of course, the Romans never had men fighting women gladiators. That was even too bizarre for the Romans. But the Romans would throw women and Christians and everybody else and let them be eaten by the animals. That was sport. Yeah, it was a brutal sport and a brutal time, pagan world. And
these people, I mean, they're so self-righteous and smug about the idea that, well, trans men can compete in women's sports. We saw what happened with the weightlifting some years ago. These men are shattering women's sports records, and people don't realize how hard these women work. Again, and like you said, it's their whole lives. They've committed to this. They've made sacrifices, and now men who couldn't hack it in the male division decide to try to dominate their sport. This is
Well,
absolutely unfair and dangerous.
it's the same thing that happens in pedophilia. You get a child who's innocent, a
Right.
girl playing with dolls, imagining, just beginning to understand who she is, just beginning to understand her femininity, her role in procreation, birthing and raising children. Boys don't play with dolls unless, there's something going on. Boys are baseball, toys, but action toys, all kinds of fundamental different things that boys and girls are attracted to. Now, these people want to deny these psychological characteristics. They wanted to say everybody's, men and women are equal rights, equal pay. This is the feminism that was fundamental to the destruction of Christian values, in which, like Phyllis Schlafly, who I worked with extensively, fought the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment, and said, why would women give up their special status? It's only women we are born through the womb of a woman, not through the womb of some guy who thinks that he can procreate and have a baby in his belly. That guy belongs in a psychiatric institution, not leading competition, not leading government, not holding pride parades, not bizarrely exposing himself to children. Children are innocent. And one of the greatest crimes on the face of the earth is to take a child and destroy that innocence, where the child's entire life and future are destroyed. And the whole vision of being protected, of being loved, of being held, being brought into the world by parents who are going to care for them, that is crushed. And that is a travesty. And the psychological damage is enormous. And it is anyone who would inflict that intentionally is evil, satanic, because they are doing evil because it's evil, and it has to be stopped.
And it's only a matter of time before the mainstream media bans these pictures too, like they did the Trump picture with the fist pump, because it exposes the woke. It exposes who they are and what they are. Like you said, if you support the woke, you support beating up women for sport. You support pedophilia. You support not stigmatizing people who perpetrate these things.
No, you demand celebrating them.
Right, that's it. You don't. Yeah, you demand celebrating them, or else you're a bigot. That's right.
You demand celebrating them. You demand celebrating perversity.
I can't celebrate this. I can't even. This should never have happened. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Next stage. So now we got, they're trying to normalize pedophilia. This is sex with minor attracted persons. Okay. Now let's continue the progression. I mean, I wrote about this 10 years ago. So this was going to happen. They're going to go into, then I said, next they'll go into necrophilia. Dead attracted.
I think you skipped bestiality in there somewhere along the line.
I forgot about bestiality.
Yeah, you got to remember that. Now there are people who've married their horses already. In
donkeys, a little nice little donkey. And so they want interspecies sex. Okay, well, after they're finished with interspecies sex, I'm sure, the cows and pigs are confused what's going on. This is really, bizarre. And so this is okay. So now they're gonna have sex with animals, and then they're gonna have sex with the dead, and now they're gonna have sex with the living who they kill. So we embrace snuff sex rituals, where the victim realizes that their end of this is that they're sacrificed, a heart is cut out and eaten.
From what I understand, Mike Tyson offered to fight that dude too, by the way.
Yeah, right. Well, look, unfortunately, and we're going to be I've authorized the publication of a novel, which is I'm taking a greater role at Post Hill Press. I'm going to be much more of an editor at acquisitions and other things. This book at the Anti-Globalist Manifesto is coming out now. Ending the War on Humanity, that will be out very quickly. It's a Bannon book. It's a war rooms book. And it's going to be, I think, a major book. And we'll see that this book is going to, I think, I'm creating the Anti-Globalist Alliance. I'll have my first copies of it here in a couple of days. It's off the press now, and it will be being featured in the war room and around the internet very quickly. And I think this is going to we're going to transform the Truth Central. It will become the Anti-Globalist Alliance. That's we're going to be broadcasting under that banner, and we're changing fundamentally the nature of the webcast, fundamentally the nature of how we're proceeding. That's in the future. It's all in the works right now behind the scenes. Let's move on to a couple other stories here, Chris. I mean, let's talk about Miss Kamala. Now she's about to be canonized. What's new with Miss Kamala?
Oh, Kamala Harris, again, she's the honeymoon seems to be over. Polls are showing that the Kamala initial bounce is kind of waning at this point.
Well, she's saying out there she's going to confiscate guns.
Right. They're letting her talk. Yeah.
just give her a microphone. Just give her a microphone.
Yeah. It's Operation Let Kamala Talk. It worked on Joe Biden. It's going to definitely work with
these people are satanic.
Yes.
They're vacuous. They're evil. They want to kill. I mean, Satan always got these, Satan, first of all, Satan's not human. Okay, so he doesn't really comprehend human beings the way we comprehend ourselves. And he thinks he's very clever with all these plots that make sense to him in his, fallen angelic state, in which his desires and wishes as an entity are fundamentally different than ours. I don't claim to understand angels. I'm not sure I would want to, but that's another point altogether. Point is that, it's okay. So Satan says, let's have globalism. We'll go produce the goods where they're cheap. We'll have slave labor. That's okay, because we don't care about the human beings. I mean, we want to harvest their souls anyway. They live miserable lives. They'll hate God, and I'll go harvest them and bring them to my kingdom where we all hate God, and they'll be fine. They'll burn in hell, but that's all right. Who cares? They're worthless anyway. So Satan begins by devaluing the people whom he wants to covet. He hates them, hates life. Well, that's pretty good. That's real smart. That's real smart. And so therefore, you've got a situation where now he says, well, let's produce goods with slave labor, and then we'll bring them into the Security and Prosperity Partnership in North America, George W. Bush's great idea. And then we'll bring them into these deep sea ports in Mexico, container ships. We'll bring them up through Trans-Texas Corridor, 1,000 football fields wide, a highway we cut through the center of Texas. We'll drop them off in Mexican customs offices in Kansas City. We'll distribute them multimodal through trucks. These goods will come to Walmart and other box stores. They'll be cheap. Nobody have to pay very much for them. And we'll all be fine. Let's say, well, that's good, Satan. Now, but producing all these goods and dumping them in the United States, who's going to buy them if nobody's working? Well, Satan didn't think about that, because he can't develop a plan that works. It's so messed up, his premises, that he ends up with a plan that fails. All it does is kill people. But which again is quite fine with Satan, because that's his goal. Have them lose their souls and kill them before they have a chance to be redeemed. They have a chance to figure out how they've been duped. Put them into despair. Give them no hope. Take away their dreams. Rape the children. Beat the women. Take away the food. Depopulate. Lock them in their houses until they starve. These are Satan ideas. And of course, the course of history killed Jews. Okay, the Jews thought all their money was going to save them before World War II. Well, it didn't. Hitler confiscated it through their business, confiscated their businesses, wouldn't let them leave, trapped them, because they never thought it could happen to them. They didn't understand the depth of evil. I've always said, if you're on the Titanic and it hits an iceberg, you got one choice. That is, you decide right then, get out. You wait, you're dead. The ones who lived are the ones who get out now. This is going to sink. I'm done with it. I'm not waiting around. I'm not waiting to be saved. I'm getting out of here. Now, if you don't think that way, if you don't understand evil and danger and the rest of it, you are dooming yourself to let somebody else come and save you. Okay, so now the women who are getting beaten up have got to say to the Olympics, we're done with the Olympics. You want to have women beaten up, you go find a group of women, bring them in there and beat them up. I'm sure you can find a bunch of women who will be happy to be paid to be beat up. You want to make that a competition? Make that a competition. We're not playing your game. We're done. The women ought to just en masse leave the Olympics tomorrow. The entire woman contingent of athletes go home. Say, we're not doing it. That happens, the Olympics crash. A lot of money is lost. It's a disgrace. The Olympics would be begging them to come back. They lose a lot of money. Sponsorships go away. Satan's embarrassed. But God is respected, because the women are saying we have too much dignity in ourselves, in our godhood, in our ability to produce children. The Olympics were fine. We're young. We enjoyed preparing for it. We enjoyed getting here. We're leaving. We are not participating in a satanic event. That happens, the Olympics crash. Okay, schools. I'm not sending my kid to a woke school. I'm just not doing it. I don't care. Well, I'll home educate the kid. We'll find a church school to educate the kid. I'll find a group of people that I trust to educate the kid. I am not sending this kid to those demons to be told, they're confused about their sex when they don't even know what sex is. I'm not doing it. Now, you stop that en masse, get millions of people say, I'm not doing this. You take your damn school and shove it. They'll go broke. They'll go bankrupt. I'm not living in your damn city. I'm not walking the streets here thinking what a great place New York is when I can get mugged by some criminal that you've released 10 times because you think the criminals are the victims. This guy's murdered, raped, killed, and you're celebrating him. I'm out of here. You can have this damn city. You and your demons can have the city. Good luck. You know, your minority mayor, your leftist politics, your Antifa, your Black Lives Matter. Paint the entire city Black Lives Matter. I don't give a damn. Nobody's going to come to the office buildings. The city's going to collapse economically. Nobody's going to ride the subways. You got drug dealers down there. You got criminals down there. Roving mobs to steal from you so they can go get more fentanyl, which, by the way, the CIA is providing across the border. You've got the cities, Democrats. Good luck. We are not bailing you out. Cloward Piven, good luck. You guys can all live in that city and fight each other and steal from each other and have no police, and you all kill each other. Then we'll come in and sweep up the debris. All live in the street, tents, homeless, go right ahead. Defecate in the streets. Businesses are going to close. People aren't going to come in there. People are going to lose a lot of money on high value property. $20 million apartments in New York City, and you go outside and there's filth in the street. So I'm not doing this anymore. I know people are moving out of New York City and going to Asia because at least they can live. They don't have to worry about being accosted. They don't have to be worrying. They walk to get Greenwich Village to get a sandwich, and on the way they got accosted by somebody who wanted money for drugs. They got threatened for being beat up. You got a mob coming across. There was shoplifting going on. I'm not. This is not Greenwich Village. It's not what I came here for. You know, I thought this was an artist village. I thought this was jazz music. I thought this was, you know, some culture here. We could have an intellectual life. Yeah, well, good luck. So buy New York City. You all can have New York City. Democrats, good luck. Go bankrupt it. We say no, we're not participating. These people collapse. And we're not going to play their game. So, Chris, let's keep going with this. We've got other woke stories around. We had this Sheila Lee Jackson funeral here. Everybody's celebrating. We had Hillary cackling at it, and we had Kamala cackling at it. So we got the cackling women bitches out being sanctimonious to us about we're racist. I don't know if we got any clips of these people, but, you know, I'm sure Hillary is the usual Hillary theatrics and the Kamala theatrics. And I think, go ahead, Chris.
I did watch it. Dr. Corsi. And while I don't have any clips we could play that are actually worthwhile here, I'm never one to speak ill of the dead, but watching watching Hillary Clinton make a lot of this speech about herself.
Who's dead, by the way? Hillary Clinton, Kamala,
No,
or is it
Sheila Jackson Lee,
her?
Representative Sheila Jackson
She's
Lee.
dead.
Right.
Well, hasn't she been dead for 20 years already?
The 19th, July 19th, actually.
Yeah, I mean, no, look. I mean, this woman has been a dinosaur, leftist.
She's not as bad as as Comrade Barbara Lee. That's a difference.
Well, or
even worse.
Or AOC and
Right,
the
or Adam
Squad
Schiff,
and
that snake.
Adam Schiff. I mean, these guys are beauties.
Yeah.
Where do they get these people? Snake City?
It was the roll call of the people speaking. And again, I'm not going to speak ill of the dead at this point, but the roll call of people there, your Al Sharptons of the world, your Hillary Clinton's.
Bill
Obviously,
Clinton.
Kamala Harris had to make his appearance. That, yeah, of course, Bill was there.
Of course, too bad he didn't bring Broderick. One of his mistresses with him. They'd have been nice. You could have a whole bevy of women with him.
Juanita Broderick wasn't a mistress; she was a rape victim. We have to remember that. If there's a book she actually put out about this experience with him. He actually raped her, and bit her, by the way, and told her to put ice on it when he left.
Nice guy.
Yes, Bill Clinton did that to Juanita Broderick.
Blue dress.
Yeah, that was Monica Lewinsky. It was more consensual, but that's still something you don't do on a taxpayer dime in the Oval Office.
It's consensual through manipulation.
Well, a powerful overlord and an underling. That's correct. That's what a lot of these liberals are going to say, or should say. They use their power to, let's say, coerce or influence, if you will.
And then he ends up in Jeffrey Epstein's living room with the picture with him with the blue dress and high heels. What's that all about?
I think we know. So, yeah, but again, a lot of these people made it about themselves. Kamala Harris had to speak over there, and she did. The first thing she did was cackle and laugh. That is true. A lot of cackling and laughing during the entire speech. It was. Oh, and she supposedly, this is the media's making a big deal about her supposedly misstepping and calling herself the president. I don't think that was a misstep. I believe that was a rehearsed mistake just to get cheers and then correct herself again saying, oh no, vice president. That's it.
Well, they've gaslighted this about as far as they can gaslight it. And what are they going to do next? Here they're gaslighting it entirely. They're celebrating all their, of course, this what do they call the four women, the cackling women in the show with, what do they call themselves? I can't even. Whoopi Goldberg and all these guys, those women, they went insane because of Trump's appearance at the black media thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing about the black media, the National Association of Black Journalists meeting. He showed up in what could be construed as a hostile territory. Donald Trump knows he has to be everybody's president, so he walks into territory where he knows there are going to be people hostile to him. But he sat there and he talked to them. He joked with them. He tried to make light of them being 35 minutes late. He called somebody out for being rude and hostile to him, one of the journalists, and he spoke to the people saying, "Look, things are happening to your community. I helped you before. I'm going to set up the opportunity zones again." And he lists what he wants to do. And Kamala Harris, on the other hand, wouldn't do it unless it was virtual, and the NABJ did not want her to do virtual. So all of a sudden now, Kamala Harris's side, saying Donald Trump is too chicken to show up at a debate against her when she's not even the candidate yet. She, in essence, was too chicken to show up in person at a very important event in friendly territory with Donald Trump. Let's put that into perspective.
Well, Donald Trump's going to basically, I think he's going to tear her apart when he gets a chance. She's a very poor debater. She didn't get she did nothing when she ran for president. She was ripped apart on the stage. She basically is her whole mental image revolves around herself. And, her impulses imprisoning black people. I mean, she's got this vicious undertow to her.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, she, as Attorney General of California, and this should be highlighted. As Attorney General of California, she argued against commuting sentences or lowering sentences of prisoners. Interesting. That's not really a Democrat position, but her reasoning was so she could keep cheap labor, excuse me, near slave labor out of the prison systems. These prisoners are commissioned to or hired to fight wildfires. They do other dangerous jobs in California. They make sub minimum wage. So what basically Kamala Harris
Um,
wanted was to keep a near slave workforce in California.
yeah, I mean, it's okay. So Biden decides, Nicolas Maduro, who's obviously rigged election. Obviously, they did the same, take that spike, stop the counting, and Maduro's losing. Then a bunch of votes show up that are fake. Now his curve exceeds the other. So Maduro, Venezuela, of course, went crazy with riots and everything else, which don't last because they control the police. Maduro does. They took down the Cesar Chavez statue. That's about all they did. So Biden says, "Oh, we recognize Maduro. I mean, oh yes, a legitimate vote. One of the best votes ever had of a fake election, which people are getting tired of seeing." So the Hamas leader is now being buried in Qatar. So he's dead. And now we're waiting for the Iranians to do an attack against Israel, which will increase the violence regionally, demand a response then from Israel. And again, Israel is out to kill these people. Israel's out for fighting for survival. And Israel will fight an existential war. They've seen the attack that came from Hamas. They saw now Hamas is circulating torture films of the remaining hostages in order to try to force a peace. Unfortunately for those people who are, the left has largely disarmed a lot of Israel, we're left helpless, and they are going to suffer. And Netanyahu and the Jews are going to say, it's tragedy, but they're going to kill Hamas. They're not going to go do it again. I think I'm seeing the systematic destruction of Hamas in the Gaza. I'm seeing the systematic destruction of the Gaza. Gaza is going to be a complete rubble by the time Israel's, and then they'll detonate the tunnels. That could take years, but they're going to destroy the entire terrorist infrastructure of the Gaza. If they have to make the Gaza parched earth destruction for 25 years, I don't think Israel cares. I think Israel, I've spent time in Israel, and I've been to Auschwitz twice, and I've walked through this and seen it. Well, you put a people through this, and they come out of World War II and they say never again. They mean never again. Now that fades as the generations pass, and the experience is no longer personal. The stories are told, the Holocaust museums are there, people visit them, but it isn't like you watched your entire town be slaughtered by the Nazis, shot to death and dumped into pits, and you then followed. It's not like that experience. When you get never again, the Jews that settled Israel after World War II and the Exodus came in there with a new determination. They were not going to submit to another Hitler. They were going to fight it to start. The Warsaw Ghetto was a turning point in Jewish history, as many different resistances. And if you go to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem, you will see celebrations of the resistance, which were considerable of the efforts, although by no means universal. And when you realize that mentality, that psychology of never again, that I am not going to let you kill my entire family without consequences. And if you're going to proceed that way, I'm not going to submit to think I can win your favor by acquiescing to go into your concentration camp. So the Jews today who remain like Netanyahu, and they're not leftists with their woke ideology, which has conceded to the from the river to the sea logic of the Palestinians who want to kill them and destroy them. That bedrock is, if we have to go to nuclear war, we are going to nuclear war, but we're defending Israel. And if you want to be engaged in a suicidal attack on us, we're in, because we're not going to go peacefully. Now, when you get that mentality, you see that trigger in Israel, which it has. You see the killing of a Hezbollah leader and a Hamas leader while Gaza is being destroyed. Israel put down a marker. If the United States is going to supply Iran with money and let them build nuclear weapons, if our demons, John Kerry, Obama, all these, terrorist-loving, anti-American jerks that we've allowed into power, they are going down that path, Israel's parting ways. And if the Jews who have supported the Democratic Party want to stay with them, those are the Jews that go to the concentration camps because they believed a lie. It's comfortable to think that they're going to be saved by the Democratic Party who wants their money and their votes, talks about Israel. If you think these Democrats give a damn, you're wrong. They fundamentally, some of them were. Jimmy Carter, I think, had an honest, biblical understanding of Israel. And by the way, I think even some of the Republicans, the Bushes in particular, were really not as committed to Israel as they should have been. Now, I think Donald Trump, when he went to Yad Vashem, I watched him, and I think he had an at the wall, praying at the wall. I believe the Western Wall. I believe he had a spiritual moment, and I think Donald Trump has a spiritual capability. I saw it when he was shot, and he was down on the floor praying. I think Donald Trump has come to Jesus Christ, and I think it's been a transformation in his life. Because, again, Donald Trump has not been a saint. But then again, I wrote an essay saying, would you have voted for Cyrus the Great, who also, as a Persian emperor, was not a saint, but he gave the Jews to escape from Babylonian captivity and the wherewithal to build the second temple. We're going to wrap up today. It's Friday. It's August 2nd, 2024. We're entering into the Democratic Convention. We'll have August being that. I think we're going to be having pandemics, chaos, war. The Anti-Globalist Alliance will be my new label. We'll be launching it very soon. In the end, God always wins. God's going to win here too. And it may not be pretty. And there will be a judgment of God. Because God's going to win whether we win. That God wins does not necessarily mean we win. Certainly not having allowed Roe v. Wade to kill millions of babies. Let God be taken out of our schools. Let this woke dominate our schools, not pulling out and refusing to participate. But God will win. And his will be done. We would be well advised in the spirit of 2 Chronicles 7:14 to get on our knees and repent. Ask God to forgive us for letting the world get to this point. We do so, and we have a worldwide new coming to God, new revival. God will hear our prayer and heal our land. And I see that in the works. So continue to join us. We'll be back next week. Dr. Jerome Corsi. Thank you for joining us on thetruthcentral.com. God bless.